Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome for those who are new. My name is Fransica Brackin John. Welcome to the channel. The Lord gave me this quick message. I was just sitting down here and the Lord began to download this message in my spirit, and he said he wants us to explain something to someone that feels like you're under a curse, right? He said it's not man or someone else that is cursing you. He said it's your actions that is causing vengeance, the vengeance of the Lord to fall upon you, and it appears like a curse. He showed me David, and when he showed me David, there's a story that David was battling and fighting all, you can go and look it up, fighting all of these winning all of these victory through having faith in the Lord. And one day he began to start to do a censor to count before he go to battle or whatever, to count how much individuals that he had, to count, to do a censor. And the Lord gave me this, and he said, after David did that, there was a part where the Lord, I think it's a prophet, came to him and said, the Lord is angry with what you have done, right? Because he said all the time that you were doing it with just you and the Lord, have you ever lost a battle, right? And David began to count now all who he had, and the Lord got angry, and he began to take down one by one he began to afflict individuals with sickness and take out his wrath on them. And the Lord gave me this, and he said, sometimes things is going bad in the lives of my faithful ones because they have chosen to start to rely on all that they have, right? The Lord showed me a calculator, and someone calculating this or whatever it's, and counting up if I had this and all these kind of things. And the Lord say, just like David, he began to take out, so your count up is you have 1,000 and you have 1,000 and you have this and you have that and you have 3 and you have all of these, you have enough or whatever it is, so you're counting on that. And the Lord say he began to smite everything, all of the persons that, so David counted 1,000, he began to kill them out, he began to shorten them, he began to take them out. And the Lord say, the Lord said, I will show you that none of these things that you are relying on, I will cause them, I the Lord will cause them to fail you, because you choose to rely on them and not on me. David counted how much thousands persons that they had there, and the Lord began to take them down. He began to shorten the numbers and began to take them down, and he count up all of this, right? You need all of that, and that's where it takes way to win the battle. You need all of this, right? And he say, I'm gonna take that out and take it. So what you going to do now? You ain't have enough now. I'm gonna take it out. You ain't have enough now. And the Lord said the reason for this being is because he said, if others look at it, they would think that, oh, David, somebody may be cursing David's life and all these kind of things. The Lord said, He said, it's the wrath of the Lord pouring out on his children that start to rely on all what they have and all their money and all these things. The Lord said, all the time that I have been preserving you and keeping you and all these kinds of things, have you ever once lacked something? So why now are you depending on all of these things here and forgetting about me who have kept you thus far? David, you see, the thing is, David was kept thus far from his enemies destroying him because he relied on the Lord. But all of a sudden he started to count on the arm of flesh, which was how much he had in his camp, and it angered the Lord, because he said, now you start to rely on that and you forget that I am the great I am. The arm of flesh will always fail you. He said, what if this one ain't come true and that one ain't come true? What are you going to do? You're gonna give up the battle because you're relying on the arm of flesh. And the Lord said, many of you all, there is some afflictions and certain persons that is letting you down. because you trust in them more than how you trust in the Lord. Not because wherever it is, but the Lord caused them to let you down to show you that you're relying on the wrong thing. You're supposed to be trusting Him all the time, and you start to rely on all who you know and all these kind of things. And this is why they're feeling you, and this is why things not going how it's supposed to, and it appear to you like it's a curse. He said, no, it's the wrath of the Lord, because how dare you start to forget your Abba and start to count on maybe if I had this much and start to do that. The Lord said the arm of flesh will always fail you, but the Lord will never fail you. All the time you're doing it with Abba, why have you start to trust in how much this you have and in how much, maybe if you had this much and if you had that much, and you start to calculate things and forgetting about the Lord? Are you adding the Lord in all of your calculations? Because if you ain't add the Lord in all of your calculations, you say running away, you will be running away from battles that you would win with the Lord, because I didn't have enough of this. When you remember that, oh God, I can do all things even though I don't have this or I don't have that. Factor in the Lord in all of your calculations. He said, because if you haven't, when you come up short, when the arm of flesh fail you, when this one ain't come true for you, when thine work out for you, when you ain't get enough, what would you do? You will count yourself out from the battle because you forget your Lord when you're supposed to be walking in victory. You will go and bow to things that you're not supposed to bow to. Do you know what it means when you say worshiping false idol of gold and silver? Gold and silver represent money in our these days time. When you're bowing to something, you're following commandments of something, right? You're following the commandments of something. So if my money says that I have enough to go to the stream, then I am going to do that. But if I don't have enough money to go to the stream, then I'm not going to do it. And the Lord said this is when you start to worship the gods of idols of silver and gold. You're not going for things in faith anymore. You're calculating and you're thinking, if I have this much or if I have that much. And the Lord said, this is why you ain't prospering enough to get certain things, and this is why this person is failing you, because He's teaching you a lesson that if you depend on those things, you will always fall short. But if you depend on the Lord, you will never fall short. Why have you started to count and forget about your Lord God Almighty who have kept you thus far? Do you understand what the Lord is saying? If you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe. This is a great message. Bye, guys. Praise your mighty name, Lord.